Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. We're starting a new little chat called Kangaroo Stew. Well, the reason we call it Kangaroo Stew is you never know what's in a kangaroo stew and you never know what'll end up in these chats either. It's just a bit of a newsletter in video format on what's been going on around the shed and any little projects that are just a couple of minutes in length we'll put into Kangaroo Stew. This week we had a good week. I bought a flywheel grinder, a Comac flywheel grinder, probably a couple of months ago now, and I finally got around to going to pick it up. We had an old hydraulic press out the back of our one of our other sheds in town, and it's been sitting out there for a couple of years, and I finally brought that home through the week. It'll be part of the, well, once we get the hand pump going, the hand pump hopefully will go into this press. It's got quite a big cylinder on it. We don't know whether we're going to leave that there yet or not, or we'll make up a 240 volt hydraulic power pack to run it with. As most small hydraulic pumps and control valves are limited to around 2,000 pounds per square inch, the hand pump going considerably further, if all goes well with it, that'll give us a bit of fine adjustment or a bit of feel through the handpiece if you're pressing a delicate thing or a water pump bearing out or something like that. So we'll have a look at that. We went and bought some new ball bearings for the Rich hand pump, and we also went off to a second-hand shop. There's a second-hand shop over East Bundaberg here, and they're never usually that very cheap, but sometimes they get a bit of gear I haven't got, and I do like to call in when I have time. So we'll show you a little bit of that. So hang on and I'll take you for a bit of a walk around the shed and just show you what we've been up to. Well, this is our Comac flywheel grinder we brought home this week. I bought this machine many years ago and it served me well. I bought it from a couple of hours west of here, a town called Mergen. There was a fellow had a workshop there and he wanted to sell a little bit of gear, so I went out there and bought it off him. And at the time I had quite a few fellas working for me, and it just saved us taking something downtown to get a flywheel machined. So we thought we'd buy this, and it did us really well. It paid for itself in 9 months. We were doing that much, and with it we sold our business, and not long after we sold our business there was a big flood in Bundaberg, the 2013 flood, and Justin that bought our business, we were sharing a shed with him, and the water came in at 1.9 metres, so as a result this machine went underwater, 1.9 metres, and well, it hasn't fared really well. Justin had it sitting outside the workshop for some time, and he finally brought it into the workshop to get it out of the weather once it was cleaned up a bit, but it just sat there. And anyway, with a bit of his insurance money, he went and bought a brand new machine, so this was just sitting not used. It was just sitting there waiting for a bit of love. And that's what I'm a bit excited about. They let me have that with it. That's a 13 3/4 inch magnetic chuck, and that bolts onto the rotary table, so if you have any small items you can bring them around, and it sits on the face plate there, and you can actually, in the past I've done small brake discs and some of the smaller items, so quite a bit of work to do this old girl up, but we'll get there. Yeah, I've bought a heap of switches already. I'll bring you back there. The switchboard's probably fried. It's never had electricity put back into it since the flood, so we're hoping that it all comes good. And with the water, I don't know what was in the water in the flood, but oh boy, it was corrosive. So anyway, we'll work away with this. This will be a project that we chug along with over the next, I don't know, I suppose month or two. Going back to the flywheel grinder here, I think part of today's exercise will be to get it over in the wash bay. We have it on a pallet jack so we can move it around easily. And I think a good degrease and a really good pressure clean, and we'll just see what we've got. This top is loose. But the spindle still turns freely. But yeah, I think a big bath's on the cards for it. This is the press I brought home the other day. I've owned this press for a number of years. It's sat out the back of our workshop over the other side of town, and I've never actually used it. I bought it off a farmer, and it has a the cylinder off it is off a big old tip truck, and it's quite a size. It's around 36-38 inches across in the gap there, across between the two uprights. The bed has about 7 inches in the middle of it. The ram I've had apart, and that's had cast iron rings in it, which isn't very appropriate for this job. So I don't know whether we'll take this ram away and chuck it out, or whether we'll machine it down and make something better of it and buy some better quality piston packings and maybe make a new piston. And that was the pump on it. Now the pump has two shafts on it, both with keyways in here. I'm not quite sure what the go is with that. Oh, it doesn't really matter. But that'll be a project we're going to do up shortly, and we'll start on it fairly soon and just see what we come up with it. The rich hand pump will hopefully go on this, and we'll put an electric power pack on it. But anyway, we'll just see. I've only got a small press at home here at the moment, so by doing this one up, it'll give us a bit more range, a bit more scope in what we can do. And by using this old frame, it saves buying an awful lot of steel. So anyway, stay tuned for that one. I better show you this too. That's not part of the press. That's a Massey Ferguson TE20 rear axle, and I just had it sitting there just to see if it would fit down the bed of the press, and it doesn't quite. So I imagine we'll have to make a little jig so we can actually push down through the bed and press from under it. Now that's part of the reason we thought we'd have a go at this press. Well, this is Kelly. She's a Kelpie. Supposed to be a working dog, but yeah, she's working about as much there as she normally does in the shed. She likes to race out and bark at magpies and anything else that comes across the paddock. If she sees a kangaroo over there, she races out and chases it across the paddock, but she always stops at the fence line. She must know where the boundary is. I don't know how they work that out, but anyway, they know where the boundary is, and anything that comes in her turf has to be chased back out again. So, but anyway, she must be resting up. Might have a big day ahead yet, but yeah, working dog. I've got me doubts. Well, I mentioned earlier that I went to the second-hand store over East Bundaberg and picked up a few little knickknacks. I noticed when we buy stuff over in Australia here, we always have to pay a lot more than our American friends. And I suppose the reason for that is they have to come over here, and the transportation costs and that. But it's still good to have a good little find. First up that I was quite pleased to find was a step ruler, or I suppose my American friends would call it a scale. It's a Starrett number 604R. It's in very good order, and it's even got the drill gauge on it. I see the other day Keith Rucker bought one of these on eBay, and I thought, oh, look at that. Yeah. It seems a nice little tool. 59-degree angle here, which gives you the 118 for drill sharpening. But yeah, that's a nice little tool. I haven't had a step rule before, a step ruler. So yeah, that's a good little find for me. And another pickup was a depth gauge. And it's an old vernier style one. And I've had to play with it since I've brought it home. And when I actually zero it out across this edge here, the scale doesn't quite line up perfectly. So I'll either have to work out a bit of an error for it, or I'm hoping that I can undo these two screws here and I can calibrate it and get it reasonably accurate, or get it fairly accurate for one of these. We have other ways of measuring holes like this, but I just thought this, well, when you see something like this, you think, geez, that looks nice, I'll buy that. So yeah, it come home with me. And even though I have thread gauges, they had a little bundle of thread gauges there, all separate, but I did them a deal for the whole lot. And this is Moore and Wright number 799, and there's a bit too much light here today. I'm getting quite a few silver reflections in the camera. But this fella goes from, well, 4 up at this end, 4 threads per inch up this end, to 42 at the other end, and there's actually a double up on that. But we have plenty of other thread gauges at our other shops, and over in my machining drawer I have quite a few different sorts too. But yeah, you can never have too many when you play with machinery, can you? This one here, it's a Whitworth. It's a Chesterman, Sheffield, England, number 885/2, and it does from 4 to 16 on one side and 18 to 60 threads per inch on the other side. Whitworth, of course, is 55 degree. I don't know. In Australia, we have quite a bit of Whitworth. When you're restoring old machinery, Whitworth is a common thing. Because of our English heritage, we seem to have we seem to have gone down that way. So that's handy to have when you restore machinery like I do. Whitworth is good. This little fella here, he goes from 56, no, actually it goes from 82 threads per inch to 32 threads per inch. Now that 82 threads per inch, I don't know when I'm ever going to be cutting one of them. It's fine as. But that's made by Starrett. It's a Starrett number 5 thread gauge. But yeah, I found that one interesting, that 82. I don't think I've seen that before. We also have a Starrett number 156 metric, and it goes from 0.25 of a millimetre to 2.5 millimetres. In Australia, metric's a common standard now. A lot of stuff's metric. So, and once again, metric's like SA, it's just a 60 degree thread. This one here, it's metric again, but it's Moore and Wright, number 803. And it goes from 0.5 of a millimetre to 3.5 millimetre pitch. Actually it doesn't, it goes to 6 millimetre pitch. Yeah, that's quite a big one. And last but not least, we have a little Starrett 474, and it does from 4 threads per inch right down to well, I can't read that. .72, I wouldn't be surprised if that was 82 once more. Even with my glasses on, I can't read that one. But yeah, that was a good little find. In Australia, for the thread gauges, they wanted $15 each, and I sort of wasn't keen on paying that. But anyway, I did them a deal for the job lot and come away with it. Yeah, nice little find, I reckon. So anyway, they go into the tool drawer with all the others, and yeah, hopefully we'll use them in the not too distant future. Well, that's it. Episode 1 of Kangaroo Stew. we're just getting started with the channel. Please subscribe. I think I've only got one. And have a comment and yeah, get to know us. Yeah, let us know what you think about our videos or ways of improving it. We're pretty green at this. But anyway, we're going to have a red hot shot. So yeah, please subscribe, like our videos if you like them, and share them around so we can get a bit of viewership going, and then that'll probably give us a little bit more direction in which way we should be heading with the channel. Thanks for that, and I'll catch up with you next time.